In previous lecture we have discussed about the quality circle, then importance of quality circle, the process of quality circle, structure of the quality circle. After that we discuss the importance of quality deployment at design and manufacturing stages, that we have discussed in detail. Then we discuss the initial planning for the quality, so how the quality should be planned at initial stages itself, so that the quality of the final product will be, say, very good. So that we have discussed. Now we have to study the last portion of this unit, that is a concept of the controllability or self control. So here the control means it is the process employed to meet the standards. So whatever you have discussed or whatever you have decided to implement, so whether the things are going as per the plan and the necessary actions taken to make sure that the things are going as per the plan is called as nothing but the control. This is very important step in your total say life cycle of the product. Unless and until there is a strict control over the process parameter, it is very difficult to meet the standards. Okay, so it consists of observing the actual performance and comparing it with some standard, comparing it with some standards. So two things you have to done. You will have some benchmark, that is standard, and the actual performance. So you have to compare actual performance with the requirements, that is standard, and take the corrective action if observed performance is different than the standard. So if there is a discrepancy is there between standard and actual performance, and if that discrepancy or deviation is not acceptable, if that deviation is not within the acceptable limits, you have to take the corrective action. If the deviation is acceptable, or if it is within the tolerance, there is no need to take the corrective action. So that is nothing but the control. If the work is managed so that each employee has full mastery over attainment of the planned result, then the person is said to be in state of self control. He is responsible for the results. So what is meaning of this self control? The meaning of the self control is that the person, whoever is doing a particular kind of activity, that person is responsible for that result. But when this is possible, when the person has all rights, he has total control over that process, he has all the authorities related to that process, he has all the authorities to take the decision related for that particular say process. Then, and that's why the word it is said that if the work is managed so that each employee has full mastery, means full control over that particular process, then and then only you can hold that person as a responsible for that particular result. Okay, so self control is universal concept applicable. It is universally applicable for, if you take the example of the self control, a plant manager is responsible to meet the goals of a plant. Okay, that is a responsibility of the plant manager. Similarly, a general manager is responsible for making profit to a company division. So every say authority has its own responsibilities, so he has to take that responsibility. He has to look for, so whatever required to be done, okay, whatever controls are to be implemented, that decision will be taken by that particular person. So that person will be responsible for the result. Okay, so now to be in state of self control means, if you want to say somebody is responsible for some result, then we have to, or the organization should provide the people some inputs, some data. They have to the organization must give the required inputs, required infrastructure, required human. Okay, so all the things which are needed to attain that particular result has to be provided by the management. So they have to be provided with knowledge of what they are supposed to do. Means clearly it should be mentioned that what you are supposed to do. Everybody should know the objectives, what you are supposed to do. Then knowledge of what they are actually doing. So what they are actually doing, that should be there. Means what actually is going on. Then third, a process which is capable of meeting specifications. So whenever we are in first say point, knowledge of what they are supposed to do, means some benchmark is set, so the person has to achieve that benchmark. So the people must know which process will take the person to that benchmark. So the name of that process should be given. So the process, a process which is capable of meeting specifications should be provided. By that means whether your goal will be achieved by say casting process, whether the goal will be achieved by the grinding process. Suppose if you take the example of that your objective is to achieve the surface finish which is very high. Okay, so high surface finish cannot be achieved by the casting process, or high surface finish cannot be achieved by the simple operations carried out on the lathe machines. For that you have to implement some other operations like say grinding or honing, lapping, isn't it? So these are the super finishing operations, because these operations or these processes itself have the capability to meet the specifications. So you must provide. So if you want good surface finish, the management has to tell that the worker should implement say honing process, or the worker should use the lapping process, because he is not aware of that say process. Okay, so that knowledge should be given by the management. So these are the three parameters: what is supposed to do, what actually they are doing, and the process which is capable of the meeting specifications. So these three parameters are supposed to be provided by the management. Now above three criteria for self control make possible a separation of defects into categories of controllability. Means what? Say out of these three parameters, if all the three parameters are met, means the management has provided you all the infrastructure required, then the person is said to be in state of self control. Means if operator is given all the things, then it is said that the operator is in state of self control and responsible for any deficiency in performance. So if the output or the result is not as per the plan, then the person is responsible for that particular performance, for say that bad performance. Okay, but when all the three parameters are met, management has provided all the three criterias. Okay, second, practically all three parameters are difficult to meet. Okay, that is a fact. If we have a quality problem and we fail to meet any of three criteria, okay, means out of these three criteria, if management is not able to provide at least one of the criteria, and out of 3 criteria only through 2 criteria are satisfied, 2 things are provided by the management, third is not provided by the management, and in that case if quality failure is there, if there is a problem in quality, then that problem, then it is said that the operator is not in state of self control. He is not in state of self control means he cannot be held responsible for any kind of deficiency in performance. If the performance is bad, then you cannot hold that operator as a responsible. Then in that case the management, the problem is management controllable or system controllable. Okay, the problem is management controllable or system controllable, isn't it? If quality problem is there and all 3 criteria are met, then the problem is worker controllable or operatable control. It is very simple. Okay, so now we'll discuss these criteria one by one. So first criteria is knowledge of what to do, what the worker is supposed to do. If a process is there, so in that process what are the actual parameters that are required to be met, or what that worker is supposed to do, so that is given in detail. It consists of 3 points. Product standards means the worker should know what are the standards of the product, what parameters are to be achieved. Then process standards, so whenever you are manufacturing a product, you are manufacturing the product through some processes, isn't it? So every process will have some fluctuations are always going to be there, but those fluctuations should be between upper limit and lower limit. Okay, so process standards should be known to that particular operator. For example, if you take the example of casting, so and if you are working at a melting workstation, so for a melting workstation, the process characteristics is if there are actually many process characteristics are there. So out of that you let us take the example of temperature. So for a product to be okay, the temperature of that particular liquid metal, let us say it should be within limits. It should be neither less than particular value, it should not be greater than a particular value. So a range is there. So suppose the range is between 1400 degrees centigrade to 1430 degrees centigrade. So it means that this is a process standard. You should maintain the temperature of that liquid metal between 1400 degree to 1430 degree. So that is the process standard. It should not go beyond 1430, it should not be below the 1430. Okay, so that is the process standard. And third one is a responsibility. So he is responsible for what, that he should knowledge of this 3 things should be there. Then second criteria, knowledge of actually doing, means one is a standard, second is a when the worker is actually doing something, so what he is doing, that he should be known. Okay, so for self control, people must have means of knowing whether their performance is as per the standard or not. Means the operator should know whether he is doing the things properly or not. Suppose he is as I told you that measurement of the temperature, so whether he should know whether he is doing the things properly or not. So for that some checks will be there. So confirmation applies to following points: the process in the form of specifications on the process variables. As I told you that the temperature should be between this and this. So in order to maintain the temperature, again, so temperature is one of the variable. So if you want to maintain the temperature of the particular liquid between 1400 and 1430, so in order to maintain that temperature, what should be done? Okay, so you have to keep the power between this much. So the power of that furnace which is heating that if it is electric furnace is there, so the metal raw material will be melted through this electrical energy, isn't it? electrical energy will be converted into heat. So the power of the furnace or the electrical supply to the furnace will decide the temperature. So you have to adjust the power of the furnace, input power, electrical energy of the furnace within say certain limits, then and then only you will be able to achieve that temperature. Okay, the product in the form of specifications on product. Similarly to the process, you should know the product characteristics. Suppose if you are measuring the if a person is confirming the hardness of the component, so the person should know what should be the hardness of that particular, what is the standard requirement, 130 to 180 bhn. So it should not be, so that is a product characteristics. The hardness of a particular product should be between 130 and 180 bhn. So it should not be less than 130 bhn, it should not be greater than 180 bhn, isn't it? So that is the product characteristics. Then third is the ability to regulate. Means what? Regulating process depends upon number of management controllable factor. Third criteria. Okay, so regulating the process. So whatever process is decided that has to be regulated, and it depends upon a number of management controllable factors. So first is important factor is that the process must be capable to meet the tolerance. Very important. Whatever, see, every process will have some, as we have discussed, some kind of variation. We have discussed this in limits, fits and tolerances also. Every manufacturing process will have some amount of variation that is permitted. Okay, and that the difference between, so that variation will be between upper limit and lower limit. So difference between upper limit and lower limit is nothing but the tolerance, isn't it? So for each process some amount of tolerance is always provided. So whatever, if you want to say manufacture a casting, so for manufacturing a casting you are implementing many processes. So for each process some process tolerance will be there. Okay, so you have to check, you have to correlate the tolerances of the process and tolerances of the product. Okay, so if you want to achieve certain tolerances of the product, you have to select the proper processes. Okay, suppose as I told you that if you want the surface finish of the product, say if you want very high surface finish, so that is a product characteristics. Achieving the surface finish is a product characteristics. But how to achieve, how you are going to achieve? You are going to achieve that product characteristics by using some manufacturing process. Okay, so so various manufacturing process will give various amount of surface finish. So if I want high surface finish, I have to choose the manufacturing process which will exhibit the high surface finish. Okay, so process, whatever process you are using, that must be capable to meet the tolerance, isn't it? Then capability of manufacturing process should be verified during product development cycle. It is very important. Whenever a product is developed, during that product development cycle itself, the capability of the manufacturing process should be verified. Means the designer should mention, if you want to manufacture this product, if you want to manufacture say a flange, okay, a flange, or if you want to manufacture a manifold. So if I want to manufacture a manifold, which kind of process I am going to implement, that has to be mentioned, because requirements of the manifold, the requirements of the design of the manufacturing design of the manifold will be totally depend upon the functional requirement of the manifold. Okay, the functional requirement of the manifold is going to decide what will be the size, what will be the shape, what will be the thickness, length, everything will be decided depending upon the functional requirement. And if so once the sizes are decided, once the material is decided, the designer must specify which manufacturing process is to be implemented, whether casting, whether powder metallurgy, whether forging, and so many. In casting itself there are so many processes, whether sand casting, investment casting, centrifugal casting, which type of the manufacturing process. So you have to study, you have to correlate the capability of the manufacturing process and the requirement of that particular product. Okay, so correlate that and verify the capability of the manufacturing process. Okay, so this should be done before the product design is released for the production. Then that was the related with the self control. Then quality responsibility on factory floor. So it is very again the point of discussion, who is responsible for the quality. So responsibility for the product quality on shop floor is unclear in many organizations. In many organizations it is seen that the responsibilities are not clearly defined, they are unclear. Okay, due to some of following reasons. One, action or lack of actions by various functions. Okay, this is point number one. There are lack of actions by various departments. Second, lack of agreement between or within functions with regard to quality. So there is a we know that in say, if you take the classical example of any manufacturing say unit, so there is a design department is there, then there is a incoming material inspection department, then actually manufacturing production department, then quality final quality control department, then dispatch department. So these are departments are also called as functions. So there is a lack of agreement between such functions. So no formal document. If certain defect comes, so who is responsible for that defect? That is not agreed. No agreement is made between the functions or within the functions also. Okay, so because of that nobody is ready to take the responsibility. Everybody tries to push the responsibility to the other person. Okay, everybody tries to put the ball in others court. Then when situation is critical, question raised is who is responsible for the quality, cost and safety. So when the situation gets worst, so the question raised is who is responsible for the quality. So frankly speaking, everyone is responsible for the quality. Everyone in the organization, in the in that particular plant is responsible for the quality. So for that discussion of the so it is very important to define the responsibilities. Unless and until the clear cut agreement is made between the various departments, it is very difficult to fix the responsibilities. So discussion of the responsibility can be carried out by the defining the decisions and actions that determine quality on the factory floor. So everybody should be everybody involved in that particular organization should be given some amount of responsibility, that he is responsible or a particular person is responsible for particular defect. For example, if there is any kind of variation in the size, then pattern shop or die department is responsible. If there is a defect due to say, let us take the example of say casting process. If there is a defect in the if there is a variation in the say chemical composition, so that can be the problem with the incoming material. So for that, incoming material department is responsible. If there is a problem of say failure of the casting due to say shrinkage or blowholes, so for that case manufacturing section is responsible. Okay, if there is a especially if there is a shrinkage is there, it is if it may be. Now you have to analyze the defect, and accordingly the responsibility has to be first analyze the quality issue, and according to once we have data of quality issues, so for each quality issue someone should be held responsible. Okay, if shrinkage is there and if that shrinkage is due to the high temperature, then the person who is looking after the temperature activity of the molten metal, he is responsible. Okay, if there is a problem of the blowhole and that problem of the blowhole is due to the defective core, then the person who is looking after the core shop section should be responsible. So in this way discussion of the responsibility can be carried out, and the responsibility can be given to a particular say department or particular people. Okay, so after responsibility, question should be discussed for each decision and each action. So in that case you can decide who is responsible for what kind of say decision. Now there's a again question of self inspection. So self inspection means, this is again widely used concept. Self inspection means decision whether process should continue or stop are taken by the production department, and decision whether product meets specifications or not are taken by the inspection department. So this is a classical traditional way of working. So a component is actually manufactured by the particular say production department, then component, that particular component goes to the quality control or inspection department. The inspection department inspects the component, and then the inspection department says whether that component is okay or not okay. Okay, so this is a classical way of working in various organizations. But nowadays there is a concept of self inspection where the workers which are actually working, which are actually involved in the manufacturing, they perform both of these activities. Means what? They will produce the components as well as they will inspect those components. Okay, so question is, now the next question is should the production worker make decision on product they make? Means whether should anyone allow, or whether the people should be allowed, the workers, production workers should be allowed to do both the activities. Okay, so this resulted in the development of concept of self inspection. There is no harm, actually frankly speaking, there is no harm in doing both the activities, but that process of self inspection should be set. According to this concept, all inspection and conformance decisions related to process and product are made by the production worker. Whoever is producing this component, that person is going to decide whether that component is okay or not okay. The component will not go to the inspection department. There will be no concept of the inspection department. Okay, so what can be done? So to set the process, what the quality department can do, quality department can conduct an audit. Okay, so and in that audit they will verify the decision making process. So third party people from the quality control department, they will do the audit of the production department workers. So they will verify how they are taking the decision regarding the conformance of the product and how they are deciding, how the workers, production workers are deciding whether a component is say good or bad. Okay, so quality department will conduct the audit, and depending upon that they will decide. So what are the advantages of the self inspection? Self inspection has huge advantages. No need of the separate inspection department. First thing, no, absolutely, though there is no necessary of the inspection, because the inspection is done by the worker himself. Additional responsibility of the worker increases their interest in the job. So they are, since they will feel proud, so that will increase the interest. Manufacturing cycle time is obviously reduced because no separate inspection station is there. So manufacturing cycle time is reduced. Feedback on the performance is immediate. Means what? The same person is doing both the activity. So whatever he is doing, he knows whether he is doing the correct things or wrong things. So feedback of the performance is immediate. Okay, that's why if a same person is doing both activities, then he will know he will come to know whether he is doing the things correctly or not. If he is not, if he comes to know that he is not doing the things properly, he can adjust or he can take the corrective action immediately, isn't it? So that is very big advantage. Remember that since the feedback is immediate, the process adjustments are improved. Okay, so production workers feels more responsible for the quality of their, so they, since they are directly involved in the quality of the work, they will feel responsible, because if that is another kind of responsibility, isn't it? In traditional way, this point number 4 is very important. In traditional way, what is happening, the production, once the component is produced, that will go to the inspection department. Inspection department will produce the components and then they will give the feedback. So in that, the process, a lot of time is say wasted, isn't it? So sequence of instituting self. Now if you want to implement this, what you have to do? So first is the responsibility of the product conformance decision should be given only to the workers who have ability to make a good decision. So what you have to do, you can do this firstly initially on as a pilot project. You can do this, but only to the workers who have the ability to make a good decision. So you have to find out the workers which have the ability to make good decisions. Okay, that you have to do. Then train the workers in how to make product conformance decisions. So it can happen that the workers have the ability, but they may need some technical training. For example, the workers are good, they are say educated, but then they don't know how to handle the vernier caliper. They don't know how to take the temperature. They don't know how to check the component by gauges. So that type of a very small kind of training which can help them to make the conformance decision, that can be given. Okay, then set up a system of product identification and order preservation. So there should be definitely this very important point from product identification point of view. So you should have the system of product identification, means which product is say manufactured at what time, at that time what were the process parameters. Okay, so that system should be there. And order preservation, so it is that product is manufactured under which order, so that system should be say that setup should be there. License should be issued only to those workers who are competent. It is very important. Issue license to those workers who are competent. Okay, so then institute an audit of decisions for licensed workers. So whenever you give the license, so let these workers take the decisions, and so whatever decision these licensed workers are taking, you conduct the audit. Okay, you make the audit. So out of say if they are say inspecting 100 components per day, so you can, out of those 100 components, you just try to find out how they are inspecting, whether that process is correct. Check some out of 100 components, check say 2-3 components you can check against the standards, and check whether the decision taken by the workers is correct or not. So based on the result of the audit, you decide whether to continue or suspend the license. So in the audit by the quality department, if the result of the audit is say okay, then you can continue that with that worker. If the result of the audit is not satisfactory, if you find that the decision making process of the licensed worker is not proper and defective components are also sent to the customer, or good components are rejected, so in that case you can suspend the license. Okay, then this is for the already license provided to already workers. Now new trials to be conducted periodically to qualify the unlicensed workers also. So you have to keep on searching the new talent. Okay, so new trials you can take, and you can find out some unlicensed workers and try to groom these people. Okay, so with this we have ended this unit number 4. So we will stop here.